Chelsea Handler has weighed in on the Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni drama, saying, stop it.
If you thought this would be a calmer week between these two, you were wrong.
In the amended complaint, Blake doubles down on the veracity of the harassment claims and says the other women on set definitely have complaints.
Blake Lively, according to Deadline, is accusing Justin Baldoni of disregard and disrespect for sexual harassment victims.
If we have to keep going down this route for a year, like she's walking the plank. I mean, it's terrible. This is not good. She needs to stop.
Blake Lively's legal battle with Justin Baldoni is escalating, with new revelations that are severely damaging her case. Resurfaced footage and interviews directly contradict her claims, and public support is swiftly shifting in Baldoni's favor. Lively's credibility is under attack, with accusations of media manipulation and playing the victim. Hollywood insiders are speculating that her once perfect reputation may be beyond repair. As Baldoni gains momentum, legal experts predict a major settlement is imminent. This ongoing battle could lead to one of the biggest downfalls of Lively's career. Is this the moment she is finally exposed? Let's break it down and dive into the details.
And we see that there's another filing made in the Lively versus Baldoni case that's filed in the Southern District of New York. In this filing, it is Lively's attorney, Michael Gottlieb of Wilkie, Farr, and Gallagher. And he is adding a document and asking the court to look at this protective order issue. And there's an issue here about whether there should be attorney's eyes only versus just a confidentiality designation.
Blake Lively's legal battle with Justin Baldoni has taken a dramatic turn, with new developments shifting public support toward Baldoni. As the lawsuit unfolds, Lively's credibility is under scrutiny, with resurfaced clips, contradictory statements, and questionable legal tactics weakening her case and raising serious doubts about her claims.
The Cherokee princess went to court last week asking for extra strong protective orders from the judge. The goddess of gaslighting, through her attorneys, said that she wanted additional protections. The Empress of Empty Allegations is worried about leaking. Taylor Swift. Discovery. So, the up-and-coming lawyer who has taken authorship of this legal battle is asking the judge for an attorney's eyes only category. AEO, attorney's eyes only, which applies to confidential discovery material of such a highly confidential and personal, sensitive, or proprietary nature that the revelation of such is likely to cause a competitive, business, commercial, financial, personal, or privacy injury. Judge Lyman has yet to rule on the basement banisher's request.
Meanwhile, Baldoni's legal team is presenting strong evidence that challenges Lively's claims, making many believe she may have overplayed her hand and weakened her case significantly.
Baldoni's lawyers have responded to the judge, submitting a letter saying that was overreaching, unusual, and a fishing expedition. Blake, no receipts. Lively is looking for receipts. Well, Judge Lyman told them to try to figure things out, and they could not. So now, even more letters have been filed to the judge.
Blake Lively recently sought to subpoena Justin Baldoni's phone and internet records, arguing they were crucial to proving her claims of a coordinated smear campaign. However, the overly broad scope of her request sparked major pushback, forcing her team to scale back their demands. This misstep has fueled speculation that Lively is more focused on controlling the media narrative than uncovering the truth.
At some point, Lively's legal team is going to be like, look, the evidence is not going to do what you think it's going to do. And if this gets litigated, people are going to be pissed at you. And the punitive damages alone, they're asking for $400 million. They might get it. They might get that and some more. They may. If we try this and it goes wrong, and look, there's already instances of her changing her story. He started off with a complaint, and then she kind of softened some of the allegations and ditched some of the others altogether, which means that she's changed her story, which means that she's not, in the credibility department, she's lacking, which means that if you're trying to pick somebody who to believe, who's telling the truth, it ain't going to be her. Baldoni has given his version of events, but backed it up with receipts, meaning he has ultimate credibility in this case, which was the genius of Brian Friedman's PR strategy. Look, I'm just going to drop all these receipts and let people see it for themselves, in conjunction with the claims that Justin Baldoni was making and Heath and all these other people. And what it did was it kind of exposed the ridiculousness of the claims of Blake Lively. And where we stand now is, absent other evidence, if that's really all there is, she's in a lot of trouble.
Adding to the controversy, Blake Lively's legal team inserted a snide remark in their latest court filing, referencing Justin Baldoni's alleged 5 mistresses and 5 psychiatrists. Though the phrase initially came from Baldoni's own team in a sarcastic context, Lively's lawyers repurposed it to paint him in a negative light. This move raised concerns that they were using legal documents as PR weapons. However, the strategy backfired, with critics arguing that such tactics undermine the seriousness of her claims and further erode her credibility in the public eye.
Okay, let's get into Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. And Baldoni's 5 mistresses. What? 5 mistresses and 5 psychiatrists? Say what? Okay, so Blake Lively is amending her subpoena. She's doing a lot of amendments these days, right? She's like, fine, let me change it if I must. So she is amending her subpoena request of the Wayfarers party's phone records, right? Because she was like, I want to go back 2.5 years and we need to go. And it seemed like there was this big fishing expedition that she was trying to do. She didn't have any strong evidence, especially when it comes to proving the alleged smear campaign and the involvement of Jed Wallace. So Baldoni's team argued that the subpoena was overbroad, right? It was far-reaching, far beyond the scope of what the fishing expedition, as did I. And so now Blake Lively's team has responded, and they're modifying their scope with a little bit of shade. So they're saying, okay, fine, maybe our net was a little too wide.
Fueling further skepticism about Lively's case, a resurfaced interview clip from the Shallows press tour has gone viral, sparking renewed debate over her credibility and the lawsuit's legitimacy.
She's losing the battle. It's terrible. And now a new clip is making the way around the web. And I wanted to bring it to you because, again, beyond the just how clueless she is and how bad she looks, this just doesn't help her loss.
In the footage, Blake Lively playfully urges an interviewer to remove his shirt, a moment now being re-examined in light of her allegations against Justin Baldoni. While it may have seemed harmless at the time, the clip has sparked debates about double standards, especially since Lively has positioned herself as a victim of unwanted advances in her lawsuit, raising questions about the consistency of her claims.
I want your Bob Ross shirt.
I want your Bob Ross shirt. Take it off.
Take it off. I'm challenging you.
Do you want?
I'm challenging you.
I'm challenging you.
Do you want me to do it?
Yeah.
I'll do it.
No way. He's taking your shirt.
Oh, exciting. He's going to take his shirt off and I'm going to force him to be uncomfortable in a junket.
See, I
just
take
gonna
my
tell
shirt
you.
off in this movie and my shorts, so it's only fair. This is the best thing that happened.
I'm also not in that great a shape. All right, so Blake, you give me new meaning here to what I'm bringing to an island. If
Yeah.
I'm stranded.
Okay.
So what do I need? What comes with your character's app?
I can't get over this poor guy who just did that because she forced him to do it. Now, I mean, I'm sure he was probably stoked at the time because it's like, oh, I got a funny video and I'm shirtless with Blake Lively, but
The resurfaced clip has ignited widespread criticism, with many questioning the validity of Lively's claims given her own contradictory behavior. Its timing has only intensified skepticism, further fueling doubts about her case and the credibility of the narrative she is now presenting.
let's just, again, the inappropriateness, the SH of it all, where Blake is the power, is the boss here in this interview in a way, because when you show up to these junkets, I've done them, you have to do what the talent in the studio are sort of telling you to do. And she's challenging him. Take your shirt off from me. It's just, look, typically I wouldn't care. I'd be like, oh, dumb and junk and stuff. But given all that she's complaining about, I absolutely care now because she just looks so hypocritical. She's so full of it. So you can do all this stuff whenever you want. Now, if he were to come forward and complain about this, would she have actually taken it seriously? Or would she have mocked him? Because that's what you're doing now, Blake.
Do you want me to do it?
Yeah.
I'll do it.
No way. He's taking his shirt. See, I think
And even she's surprised, like, no way, he's not going to do this, right? He has his own morals. And
shirt off in this movie and my shorts, so it's only.
oh, I take my clothes off, so it's good you did it. That's how it works, right? So again, let's just all do that. That's appropriate.
fair. This is the best.
It's fair.
Social media analytics show that Blake Lively has been losing followers rapidly since the lawsuit began, with reports indicating nearly 1 million lost since September. Meanwhile, Justin Baldoni's following has steadily grown. This stark contrast suggests that many are abandoning Lively's narrative, instead siding with Baldoni, who has maintained a measured and consistent defense throughout the legal battle, further shifting public perception in his favor.
Dude, if Blake Lively's listening, we can help you. No, my viewers are gonna hate that. No, but seriously, what would you say? Should she do some kind of mea culpa, but sort of halfway, where she doesn't totally admit to everything?
Yes, because he is in a better position than she is, in my opinion, right now. But yeah, I mean, I think the advice that I would give her is for her to sit down, really look at what's been put out by his side at this point, and look for little reasons, little excuses, what can give her an off ramp, which to me is stuff like we're very different people. What happened on set was the result of two very different people with very different backgrounds who are used to different environments. And you know what, let's just, I want to call it, I want to settle. And that's how I would try to just, figure it out, because the road she's going on right now with trying to drum up different actresses who, he said, she said, and trying to make it so that she puts herself in a position of, if people say that I'm a liar, they're also saying that all these other co-stars are a liar. Right. I just think it's messy. I think it's too it's too messy. She's headed for failure. And I think she should identify that. But if she, again, like I said before, if she's surrounded by a bunch of people who are equally delusional, who who are just saying, yes, you're right, Blake, yes, you're right, that's bad, and that's it's going to bury her. And
This shift is becoming evident in Hollywood circles, as several industry insiders reportedly distance themselves from Blake Lively, viewing her as a growing liability. As legal battles and public scrutiny intensify, Lively finds herself at the center of mounting controversy. While traditional media remains largely in her favor, critics argue that her team is shielding her from the full extent of the backlash. Recent court filings, particularly a footnote referencing 5 mistresses and 5 psychiatrists, have only added to the skepticism. Many believe her legal strategy leans more on veiled smears than a substantive defense, further damaging her credibility.
These phone records they're requesting, it's too broad, yada yada. Wayfarers indicating that the subpoenas, as issued, would problematically reveal whether Miss Baldoni communicated with 5 mistresses or whether he had communication with 5 psychiatrists. What? Correct me if I'm wrong, Zach. Maybe I'm missing something. Where did 5 mistresses come from? Why are they alleging to that? Does this not seem slanderous to you?
Yeah, so what they're doing here, so Baldoni's team was basically in their fight to prevent them from this very broad scope in which they wanted to subpoena these phone records, which I always kind of thought was a fishing expedition, and Baldoni's team seems to see it the same way. And so they, in a hypothetical, sarcastic way, kind of were they basically threw this out there. And so Blake Lively's team is now taking that and putting this in the footnote, which they do this quite often. Her team in their footnotes are very shady. But to me, it was such an unnecessary dig that it shows that they're grasping at straws at this point. They're taking sarcasm that Baldoni's team put into trying to block this wide scope of subpoena. in Discovery, and they're using that to make it seem like, oh, well, he must have something that he's trying to hide, but don't worry, we're not going to dig into the 5 mistresses, we're not going to dig into the 5 psychiatrists. Like, he doesn't have to worry, we're not going to out all of his dirty laundry, which to me just shows that the fact that this is a letter that they're submitting to the judge and they're being this petty. And again, you can accuse Baldoni's team of doing this, and you can say they're shady and they use the media and they're leaking things and blah 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 blah. But
she's doing what she's accusing them of doing.
Exactly. She's doing what she's accusing them of doing while also trying to still play the victim in this, which to me is the most preposterous part.
Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds' Saturday Night Live appearance, where they seemingly mocked the legal drama, has been cited in court as contradicting her claims of emotional distress. As speculation intensifies, the case fuels debates over legal tactics, media influence, and the powerful role public perception plays in high-profile lawsuits.
Oh, they bring up the SNL of it all. Oh my God. This is on page 2. Worst of all, in a planned skit on NBC's Saturday Night Live 50th anniversary special, which attracted almost 15 million viewers, Miss Lively's husband, Ryan Reynolds, stood up and made a joke about her claims for sexual harassment and emotional distress. In any event, given the order directing the parties to submit a proposed protective order, the Wayfarer parties have no objection to entry of the court's model protective order. However, Lively's proposed protective order, or any protective order permitting attorney's eyes only designation, is not warranted. Although the Lively parties contend that the ability to designate information AEO is appropriate because the litigation involves claims of sexual harassment in the workplace, Miss Lively has already publicized the alleged details of the so-called harassment in her amended complaint spanning 138 pages and almost 500 paragraphs.
Justin Baldoni's legal team holds a significant advantage, presenting extensive evidence that challenges Blake Lively's claims. From text messages contradicting key allegations to witness testimonies undermining her version of events, Baldoni appears to have a far stronger case. If the lawsuit goes to trial, Lively's credibility will face intense scrutiny, potentially leading to even greater damage to her reputation and public standing.
Team Justin has not given up, and they are being incredibly aggressive because Brian Friedman is doing his job. This is what he does. It's a winning strategy, and he pretty much can't lose at this point, it seems, because Blake's been unable to provide anything realistic. She thinks she has it all, but sources are saying that no, she does not. There's so much more that Baldoni and Friedman have on Lively. They just gave a taste on the website. They're showing a little ankle, but not the whole leg, if you know what I mean. I'm sure she wouldn't approve of that reference. Too sexist. The reason? Friedman is going to annihilate Lively on the stand during depositions. She thinks she knows what they have, everything that's on the website, so she can prepare for that, but she can't prepare for what she doesn't know they have. And again, they have a lot. According to the sources, they have troves more of stuff that has not been seen publicly, emails, text calls, videos. If you think Blake looked shocked during SNL, wait till you see her face during deposition. Justin kept everything.
The fallout from this lawsuit is expected to have lasting consequences, particularly for Blake Lively. Some industry insiders now view her as overly litigious, potentially making studios hesitant to work with her. Meanwhile, Justin Baldoni, previously known within niche circles, has gained significant public recognition. If he emerges victorious, his career could receive a major boost, further solidifying his reputation and expanding his opportunities in Hollywood.
Peace of mind isn't so much about the work that went into it, but about the why behind it. If a Lily Bloom in real life can sit in this theater and maybe make a different choice for herself than was made for her, maybe she sees herself on that screen and chooses something different for herself. That's why I made the movie.
One thing you want people to take away from this project, what would you say?
Hope. That everybody has the ability to end a cycle that they didn't ask for. We can all say it ends with us in our life.
This is your night, mister.
No, this isn't my night. This is a night for all the women who we made this movie for.
It Ends With Us is in theaters now, so grab your friends, wear your florals, and head out to see it.
Question that's always asked is, why did she stay? And that's the wrong question.
Yeah.
What we need to be asking ourselves is, why do men harm?
Yes.
And that was the big thing for me.
Author Colleen Hoover, whose novel It Ends With Us inspired the film at the heart of this controversy, is also facing fallout. Some experts believe the scandal surrounding the movie's production could negatively impact her future projects. Whether she chooses to publicly address the situation remains uncertain, but the ongoing legal drama may have lasting effects on her career and industry reputation.
For people who see this movie, who relate to the topics of this movie on a deeply personal level, they're really going to want to talk to you. How would you recommend they go about it?
Like asking for like my address or my phone number or like my location share. Oh, I could just location share you and then we could, I'm just curious.
Social security number.
I'm a Virgo, so I'm like, are we talking logistics? Are we talking emotionally?
The legal battle between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni has highlighted deep rifts in Hollywood's power dynamics and fueled growing skepticism toward high-profile accusations, raising questions about media influence, legal strategies, and the shifting landscape of public perception.
Baldoni and his lawyer, Brian Friedman, set up the website, thelawsuitinfo.com.
Which you spent hours diving into.
It's must read. It is really just jaw-dropping, the stuff that he said she did, and also that he had the receipts for it. However, sources are saying that's just an amuse-bouche for what's about to happen when Blake and Ryan go into depositions, which will happen this year. They're saying, Justin kept everything. And also because he was a producer and director on the movie, he has all the tapes. He is in possession of everything. So they're saying, literally, it's just going to be jaw-dropping.
While Blake Lively initially gained public sympathy, the tide has shifted as many now question her motives and the strength of her claims. With damning evidence emerging and public opinion turning, it's becoming increasingly clear that this lawsuit may not unfold in her favor as she originally envisioned, further jeopardizing her credibility and reputation.
So one of my sources said, remember when the SNL show went on and Brian did the joke, and Blake went and looked shocked. He said, you know what? Wait till you think that looks shocked. Wait till she gets on the stand and Brian Friedman deposes her.
Do you think by the time this actually goes to court, people will be over this story? Personally, I can't get enough of it. But do you think people are getting sick of this?
No, I don't
either.
I don't, because there's several reasons. Number one, it is a unique behind the scenes look that we never get to see. And it's also involving issues that we all care about. It's involving sexual harassment, but it's also involving gaslighting. And so I think people who were very sympathetic to Blake at first are now kind of looking at all this stuff coming out and going, wait a minute. And also what's really harming her is a lot of the old interviews that she gave that were really not nice and dismissive.
Yeah, I don't think it's people are disliking her mostly because of Baldoni. I think it's those old interviews.
I think she did her own damage.
As legal proceedings unfold, all eyes are on how Blake Lively and her team handle the mounting backlash. Whether she settles, continues fighting, or attempts media damage control, one thing is clear. Her once flawless public image may suffer, lasting damage, potentially altering her career and reputation permanently.
Part of the promotional strategy that really took the cake was the fact that she decided to exploit this story to sell her alcohol company called Betty Booze. So Betty Booze sponsored all of the premieres with a specified drink menu where they named some of the specialty drinks things like Ryle You Wait, and Ryle is the name of the man who abused his wife in the film, if you didn't know, and also It Ends With Buzz. So in the film title, It Ends With Us, the it is domestic violence and you are using it to sell alcohol, did nobody on your team think about the fact that alcohol is something that's present in 90% of domestic violence cases and that this would not go over well? And then this is not even mentioning the fact that Colleen Hoover herself sold It Ends With Us nail polish and a coloring book. A coloring book for a book about domestic violence.
Blake Lively's legal battle is rapidly unraveling, with mounting evidence exposing major cracks in her case. As Justin Baldoni gains public support and legal leverage, Lively faces a potential career-ending fallout. With settlement talks looming, her next move is critical. Will she recover, or is this the beginning of her downfall? The stakes couldn't be higher, and Hollywood is watching closely. What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments below. That wraps up today's video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.